dots you have to click on. Got it.
Ah,
The wonders of science. Okay, well, today the intent was the topic should be why R.O.D? What have you recently observed or done? And Dick Kelly, you sent me some pictures. And if all goes well through the wonders of science, I should go here, and go there. Is everybody seeing a sketch?
No.
No, we're just seeing your Explorer. You have to double click it.
Well, why did that not work?
It has to be open before you use the share function.
There's share. There we go. How's that?
Same as
Same.
before. It's still showing just your Explorer. Double click the one item there to see if it'll open.
Now you're seeing my Explorer.
Yes.
Still seeing Explorer.
And I double click that item. And you still see just my Explorer, huh?
Yes, you may have to open it up outside of Zoom because it needs to be running a program that will read that GIF. Then when you
Okay.
go into share in Zoom, it should already be open and visible.
hi, Rick.
Well, Sugarfoot.
So what you can do is just go out of your full screen view, go into explore your File Explorer and try to open it there so that it's open on your desktop. Then come back into Zoom and try to share it.
Better you than me.
It just takes a bit of practice.
Yeah,
How's
Oh,
that?
there you
you
got
made
it.
it.
All right,
Yay.
way to go.
The wonders of science. Dick, you want to tell us about this project?
Well, this is a very, very old project, but it's also something I've gone back to. A long, long time ago, and I mean like 15 years, right about the same time as I was getting started turning. I was also taking the flatboarding class over at W.H.Y. And one of the projects in the flatboarding class was to make a chair. And so we've got lots of Windsor chairs around, especially back in Maine. And so I decided to make a southwestern Windsor chair, and just with kind of motifs that were appropriate for the Southwest. You can see on the top of the top rail there are little snaky heads, little triangular heads that are carved in there, and the little zigzag down the middle of the back. And so I didn't get it finished, and it just sat for a long time because the last day of class. Oh, and then I took another flatboarding class right as COVID was getting started, and I got the holes for the legs drilled, but it was the last day of class, and I didn't have anybody to double check my work. And so they were all crooked and wonky. So I filled them in, and here's the recent part. Within the past couple of weeks, I went out to Dean Humphreys to use his big drill press to drill the holes again and take that the next step down the way. So I got the holes drilled, and boy, the first one is tough, but you can advance now to the next one. So the reason I'm showing this is because it's an exercise in spindle turning. I decided I wanted to turn all the legs, and that would be good practice. I borrowed the steady rest from Jim Opdahl so that I could turn those long spindles, and made them so that they kind of were similar to each other. And the bottom one is the legs. I've got 4 of those. The middle ones are 2 views of the back that goes up between the seat and the rail. And the top one is the little one that goes from the seat to the armrest. And now that I've got them together in 3 dimensions, they seem a little heavy. Actually, I joked to Dean, this whole thing is heavy. You know, one of the features of Windsor chairs is that they're very light, very elegant. This one is so heavy, I think I may have to put casters on it to move it around. And so that's the picture of the turnings. It's those are the ones that I had the sketches for, and the teacher at W.H.Y referred to them as a pile of sticks. And so I, at this point, still just have a pile of sticks waiting to get all the holes drilled, and so that I'm satisfied with them. So I just thought I'd show that as a departure from the usual bowl turning and vessel turning and stuff, just to show some spindle turning. So that's what I've been up to, getting out to Dean's, and he was, excuse me, he was very helpful. It was very nice to get out there and to have the right equipment to be able to do it. And yeah, it was a nice get together.
Dick, I have to comment that it looks like you've done an outstanding job of replication there. All of those look like they're not just in the same family, but they're siblings.
Yeah, it's just patience. I was surprised, you know, turning is, to me, is just, it's always a surprise. You start out with the best of intentions, and I usually always shoot for 100% on what I expect to get off the lathe, and sometimes just by being careful, I will hit 85%. And you know, stuff happens along the way, but yeah, these were just yeah, just a little patience and measuring all the time. I have those pictures, the pictures of what I want to do. I have them with the measurements just up above the lathe, and I just check them all as I go along, and just sneak up on what I want to get.
Very nicely done, Dick.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
beautiful.
very nice.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for sharing that.
I have a question about your drilling with the angle of the top part of your chair. Was the angle varying when you're drilling all your holes?
Well, I got a book and downloaded some pictures with the angles, and I also have a Windsor chair here that that I took some angles from. And yeah, the only holes I drilled were in the bottom of the chair to put the legs in so that I could go on to the next step. And yeah, they vary, because you take a look at the Windsor chairs and the legs are kind of splayed out from the bottom. And one of the examples I downloaded, it seemed real extreme. And I think I overcompensated and tucked them in a little bit too much under the chair, especially the front. So this, I may have to do it again. When I drilled them wrong, I asked my brother, who is a very good a professional carpenter who makes real nice stuff. And he and I asked him how to fix it. And he said, well, you got a round hole there. Just turn a dowel so it fits in that round hole, glue it in, finish it off, and just re-drill the whole thing, which is what I did. That was the step I did out at Dean's. I had inserted the dowels and was putting them in again. And I may have to do that again. Either that, or when I'm doing something, I often figure there's only so much you can learn from any single project, and you can't take one project and keep improving it until you've got it perfect. It's a question of having to take that design and maybe do it 2 or 3 or 4 times and improve it every time. But boy, I don't want to have to make another one of these, so I'm just going to keep improving it.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Very nice, Dick. Appreciate you sharing.
thanks.
Now, I'm assuming I'm no longer sharing the picture of his chair. Is that correct?
Right.
Correct.
Wonders of science.
That could be because you have Dick pinned now for.
So I have, Sir Mark. I have 2 things to share. The first one is to show you this and say, everybody, there we go. Everybody needs one of these in their shop. So I expect you all to make it.
Bruce, with a virtual background, we're losing what you're trying to show us.
Yeah, I notice.
And also you may need to unpin Dick.
Oh, I've pinned Dick, huh?
Oh, and Dan had one more question for Dick too. It just popped up in
unmute,
chat.
Dan.
It popped up in chat.
I just wanted to know where the embellishment and the carving was on the chair.
Okay, there. No, there.
So what are we looking at besides a piece of wood with a hole in it?
Oh, it's the most handy thing you'll ever have in your shop. Now, you ready for this? You see that? It's a glue top popper. You know how when you use your glue and it's always tough to get that thing to come up? Well, here's directions, and I made one, and it is very handy. you no longer struggle getting that glue top open anymore.
Yeah, but that's what your teeth are for.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay, I need one today. I always have trouble with that.
Your dentist appreciates that approach, Gary.
Bruce, I've done an alternate by using an open-end wrench, but the wrench doesn't give the leverage like it looks like this one would. So this I like this idea.
Yeah, I found this in a flat border magazine. And I thought, I gotta try that. Well, I did. It really is fairly simple. It tells you the 2 holes to use, and you stop 1/4 of an inch from the bottom and then chisel out the spot in between, and boy, it goes on and just pops up easy.
I'd
So-
have to remember where I put it.
Yeah, well, I have mine right next to the glue bottle.
Yeah.
And then this is the other thing I've done recently. Several of us, thanks to yeah, right, Dave Madden, have these devices, and I can improve a little bit on it for you. We talked about using a piece of pipe to go over the bar for your sharpening system. Well, I can get you a little lower cost. In my case, I used 3 3/4 inch couplings and glued them together. Now you got to save up because that costs you $1.50 to do that. With tax, it comes out to $1.72. But glued all those up and then trimmed it to the right length. And then I made the wooden blocks. Now I realized I can't tell you what works for your machine, because where this particular device is located, and this is my homemade device to hold the sharpening bar, but wherever that's located for you will vary relative to how you line up to the grinder. However, once you get that established, these blocks should be relatively the same. And I have all those dimensions nicely written down, ready to share with you. But it's at home and I'm in California. So later. The other thing is, this is one of the blocks, and I've talked to you before about that is the magnet that comes out of the bottom of an electric toothbrush. And I just counter drilled a hole. So it fits in there. And then right next to my lathe is where my sharpening station is. So this is the one, if I want a 50-degree angle, that's the one if I want a 35-degree angle. And this is 45 and this is 40. So that's how I got that particular setup for my shop. But it works very slick. You don't have to do any machining on the inside of the tube. Nice snug fit. Glue it, clamp it. Next day, go back, trim it to length, and you're off and running.
Great idea.
So. Welcome, Mark and Jay.
I haven't been able to figure out how to make my video work. And
Aha.
Jay sent me a link, or I mean, a message saying he's trying to join, but it wouldn't let him in. So
The Jay is now in. Mark, on some laptops, there's a little slide at the top that slides over the lens of the camera that stops the camera from spying on you when you don't want to be seen.
That little lens is folded up, so, I have everything that I can think of to make it work.
Yeah, I have mine secured with duct tape.
Mine has a little fold down lid or whatever, and it's up. I mean, I checked it 100 times already, so.
And down in the lower left corner where it says stop video, is that clicked or unclicked?
It's unclicked. I've done that too. Stop video, and then it puts a little red crossbar on it, and then I unclick it, and so I don't know what.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Mark,
have-
open up the video settings and verify that the camera is for your integrated webcam.
video settings, where is that?
It's normally a little gear or something like that.
Next to the stop video, there's an up arrow. Click on the up arrow. You'll see a drop-down menu and video settings is in there.
I don't see anything that says video settings.
The other thing is when you first log in, ask whether you want to join with.
Rick, you're awful quiet.
I'm quiet.
Yeah, did you move
Yeah.
away from the microphone?
Maybe a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Okay.
Okay. While they're working on sorting that out, anybody else have anything?
Well,
I got
yes,
a couple of things.
Okay, Gary, go ahead.
well, I think Spence and I were going to talk about the same thing. Yesterday, I had a large bowl, shallow bowl. I'd had the piece of wood for years, and I wanted to take and core it because it was a very expensive piece of wood. Took it over to Spence's, and we were able to core it in the long run, but due to over exuberance on my part, beating on the new piece, the core to come out, I sheared off the tenon of the main bowl. It was a burl, and I had C8'd it to strengthen it. And it was one of those, oh God, what did I just do moments. But Spence saved the day. He had a brainstorm of taking his jumbo jaws with real long rubber holders. They Spence, they're about 3 inches.
Yeah, close to 3 inches.
And we set that up. We put it in as if it was, in the same position to core it, brought in the tailstock, and we were able to core it. I was very pleased to see that worked, because otherwise it would have been a mess.
Gary, do you have those two pieces?
Yeah, they're in the shop. And one of them's on the lathe. The core I've got on the lathe, I glued a waste block on it yesterday. But the bowl is about 11 inches in diameter, so it was good size.
Nice size, yeah.
And But
It was only about 3 inches thick.
and so I was really, I had never thought of, trying to do that with the jumbo jaws, but it, obviously I had to be quite ginger, tack it gingerly going in, but we were able to core it. It really worked out well. Now, I said, I've got a sacrificial, I glued on yesterday afternoon a sacrificial tenon. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the, put it back in my jumbo jaws. As a matter of fact, I was laying in bed last night thinking of it. At the big bowl, I should be able to take and run through my drum sander, flatten off the bottom, relative to the rim, and then again put a sacrificial tenon on it.
Gary, I'm not sure I'm following quite what you described. Let me try to tell you what I think you said. You had the blank set up with a tenon and you were doing the coring.
Correct.
But the tenon broke off. So
Correct.
your fix then was to put the rest of that on the jumbo jaws to be able to hold it and finish the coring. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
That was a great inspiration that Spence had.
So the jumbo jaws were long enough to come out around the entire piece.
Correct.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Spence, what did you do to make those longer jumbo jaw bumpers?
Hey, Spence, did you hear the question?
I didn't hear it.
What'd you do to make the longer jaws, longer bumpers?
They're commercial. If you hold on a minute, I'll go get them and show you what they look like.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, we see you now, and Jay.
Yeah,
I finally clicked on enough things and for something work. And I just, I'm not a friend of Zoom, or Zoom doesn't like me, I guess, but finally clicked on something and it magic, so I don't know what I did to make it work.
Well, we get to see your smiling face.
I have two types. One's about about 1 3/4 inches long and is triangularly shaped.
Mm.
You get it back a little there. The other one, which is the one that Gary and I use. Where am I?
Yeah, bring it up.
Towards your nose. There you
This
go.
one. It has a thread on one side, so it sticks out. Not quite 3 inches, like maybe 2.5 inches. But these are commercial, and
Back up a little bit.
PSI.
Really, there you go.
Oh, PSI. Okay.
so it turned out it worked really well. And more importantly, Gary did an excellent job in coring it. He had originally put it on a screw chuck, which poked it almost 1 inch hole in the top. And remember, I said the whole unit was not more than 3 inches, and probably less than 3 inches. But he was able to core it to a point where there was still 1/4 inch of wood between the end of the screw chuck and the bottom of the bowl. So if he's real careful for that top piece, he's going to get a very clean top piece. And it was a beautiful piece of wood. I got a couple of things I wanted to point out. There's only one of you that's with us that didn't go to Albany to the symposium, but those of you that you did, I think you all saw Sally Alt's demonstration of the sea urchin construction that she made, which I thought was really neat because it ended up being an actual little box inside the sea urchin with a finial on top of it. So I decided to try and do it, and I started with a piece. Why does it do that?
Because your black arm is blurring. There you go. Whoop, 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 right there.
Hold it pretty much in front of your face there, Spence, because it's trying to focus.
There
There
you
you
go.
Oh, okay. Ta-da! Anyway, this is just a 2.5-inch sea urchin, standard sea urchin, but they're really super fragile. You got to be very careful with them, and frequently when you're beginning to work with them, they break. So Sally Alt came up with an idea of taking the same shell, only coating the inside with an adhesive to plug up the little tiny holes, and then filling it with an expandable foam.
Up a little bit. There you go. That's
Got
good.
too much light. That's the problem. What I did that, and I covered the top just with a little piece of adhesive, and filled it up, and it's solid, and it's worked. And I got no material, none of the expanding foam or the glue on the outside of the piece. So it's going to be fun to see what it looks like when it's finished. But the difference is significant in terms of its stability. And the only other thing I wanted to add is, this is a commercial. As you know, the people that went to the Albany Symposium, it was backed and supported by a company in Florida called Woodturner Wonders. And so as I felt an obligation to try to do business with them. Well, it turns out that I found two things that really impressed me. The first one was, those of you that make your own sanding discs that connect directly with the drill motor, you have to put a quick cushion pad between on top of this little turn block that you've made. And it turns out I've tried every different method you can think of for making my own, but they just don't have the right consistency to give me the sanding finish that I need, which meant that I had to go to Craft Supply and buy them. And when you buy them from Craft Supply, they're $5.95 a piece. I subsequently found out that Woodturner Wonders sells the same pad for $2.50 a piece.
Whoa.
Half the price. And today I was just looking around and I noticed my supply of 80 grit 3-inch discs was kind of getting low. So I thought I would just look around and see who sells them for. And I've got a list here. I buy a lot of stuff from Kleinspor, and one of the reasons is because you can buy a large quantity for a fairly reasonable price. For example, if you want to buy 10 discs from Kleinspor, it's $4.50. If you want to buy 50, it's $17. There's a significant savings. But what I wanted to point out, Packard sells, and I'm talking specifically 3-inch 80 grit hook and loop discs, round, not the scallop. Packard sells them for $2.59 for 5. Craft Supply sells them for $3.50 for 10. Woodturning Source sells them for $4.15 for 25. That's really significant. So there's two sources that I would use, which is Kleinspor or Woodturning Wonders. But since they also have a really good price on the padding itself, that's where I would go to buy my stuff. That's what I got.
Hey,
Cool.
Spence, I'm a fan of Woodturner's Wonders too. So they're a good company. The service is great. And Ken Rizza, I'm not sure if he's the owner or manager or whatever, but he's always happy to talk to any of us. And at the symposium is really good. So Woodturners Wonders, they're actually located in Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia. They are fantastic. I'm going to call them probably in the fall and ask for donations for our Christmas party. So I plugged them only because, well, like Klingsport, you know, when you get good service, I like to pass that on to our club members. You get good service, good products. So you're spot on with that. That's really good.
Mark, do you know, do they have a catalog? I was able to find one.
I don't know if there is one. I don't remember. I'll have to look around. I ordered and received my CBN wheels from them, both of them. And I'll have to look around and see if there's a catalog. If I find it, I'll bring it to Tuesday breakfast.
Great.
For the
Spence, I
record,
have a question about the Seashell. Did you coat the inside, other than the one hole? Did you coat the inside to prevent the foam from oozing through the tiny pores, or was that a non-issue?
No, it was. I did. And the shell that I showed you, this particular shell, hardly has any holes in it. The Sputniks, the ones that have the big knobs on it, they have a lot of holes in it. But with this, I did coat the inside completely with that mastic stuff. But it's kind of tricky. What I ended up doing was taking a little sponge ball about this big, soaking it in the material, sticking the ball in, and then using a pen to just kind of push it around and dot it around. It seemed to work fine.
Thanks. You used the Mod Podge then?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
and for the record, there's 3 in this call that didn't go to Oregon, but it's an opportunity for the next time. We'll have you guys join us.
Well, I'd like to, one more thing that I wanted to mention, and it's kind of a plug for a big stash of wood over at Mark's that he really wants to get rid of. I went over there to see if I could find some hard maple so I could turn some tops over at the farmer's market. And I found some other stuff. There were 2 4-inch by 4-inch by 4-inch blanks. One of them came out like this, ambrosia maple. And haven't done a finish on either of these yet. And the other one was this one.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can see all the curl that's in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some fantastic wood that Mark has inherited that's sitting there that who knows how many more of these gems are in it. I took some 3, I think they were 3 by 3 by anywhere from 9 to 12 or so inch long sticks. My idea was I was going to make Christmas trees out of them. Well, Mark, I put them through my bandsaw, and all of them are more ambrosia maple. I went and cleaned up the sides because they were really rough and you couldn't really see what you had. Started running it through the bandsaw, and again, a whole bunch more ambrosia maple. So,
well, Gary, I'm glad you were able to make some use of that wood, and I've been advertising, and by the way, it's not my wood; it's belongs to the club.
Yeah,
but you're right. I am storing it, and I'd really like to get rid of some of it because it seems to keep coming. Just when I think oh, okay, I got rid of a lot of it, and then more stuff comes in, so.
Yeah.
um,
I won't be at the next club meeting, but Mark, if you want to use my name in vain, you know, give some examples of the wood that we found there.
Right,
You know, maybe you can stir up some interest to have people come and get it. And I definitely need to make a donation to the club for that beautiful wood.
Maybe by the next meeting, the rest of us will have been over there and made our own selection of wood.
Yeah, that works too. Right, Mark?
it works, whatever way we can get rid of it, and I plan to take some wood to the meeting. There's no way I can take all of it.
No.
I'll probably just hook up to the trailer and just throw a few bins in there, because the trailer already has a bunch of stuff in it, as Gary could tell you. But I'll grab some of those bins and just throw them in the back and let people take what they want and donate to the club. Or and I'll mention this in the meeting, if you're going to turn something for empty bowls or beads of courage, then so be it. You know, no charge, but we'd like to make good use of that wood.
Cool. Okay, anybody else have something to share this morning?
Yeah, Bruce, I do. Two things. Number one, I had been getting a little bit of a sore back while I was turning, so I felt it was time to revisit the lathe height topic. And I ended up, when I got my lathe, it came with two 4-inch pieces that went on the bottom of the legs to get it 4 inches higher. And I hemmed and hawed about it and then finally put them on. Well, that was the best thing I've done. That's brought the lathe 4 inches higher than where it was working before. And now when I'm working inside a pole and I was bending over to get in there, I don't have to do that anymore. So it might be something that some people might want to revisit. There is Turn a Wood Bowl. Guy's name is Kent. And he goes over how to do it, where to try and get a medium where your lathe should be. And what he says is you should take and cross your hands on your shoulders, and it should be right about at your elbow. So anybody that's getting discomfort while you're turning, you may need to raise it or you can lower it if it's causing you a problem. The other thing is I need your brain trust. Everybody knows what these are, I think, don't you? These are a magnet. This is a cup that the magnet goes in right here. And you put a screw in it and you pick the magnet and it goes up inside the cup. And you can stick things to the wall with it. Oh, they're great. The problem is if you ever want to move them, how do you get the magnet out of the inside of the cup? I don't know the answer, so I'm asking for suggestions. I'm looking at these faces and everybody's sitting there. But yeah, so if you have any ideas, I'd be real grateful to get the idea from you.
Can you
Rick, I'm
take
not
like a
understanding.
drywall screw that's very coarse and thread in through the hole with a little bit of interference and then pull it out?
The one that I have does not have the hole in it. It just has the cup and then a full magnet that fits inside here. So I don't have that hole in the middle
What's
to
the
put a
back,
screw in.
Rick, what's the back look like?
The back looks like a flat magnet, like, you know, a quarter magnet. And then there's a screw inside with a recess where you hold the cup in place and then you pop the magnet in. I tried using a bigger magnet thinking maybe I could pull it out that way. That didn't work either, so. Trying to figure it out.
Rick, I'm not understanding what is the magnet used for in the cup?
Well, what I do is I put the magnet in and then I have my chuck key and I just put my chuck key up on this and it holds it. So all I have to do is grab it. It's right there when I'm working and it holds it great. But I want to reorganize the lights in my shop and these magnets are in the way now. And I can't get it out to unscrew the screw to relocate the magnet. So,
Rick, I have a magnetron magnet, big one.
uh-huh.
I'm thinking that if you took that magnet and laid it flat on the one that I've got, you may be able to pry the back off it.
Possibly.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I
really
think it's going to take a magnet that has more pulling, more strength than the one that's in there.
This
Yeah,
So,
was this big.
I might borrow that from you, Spence. If
Fine.
it's okay, I'll come over and pick it up. Okay, thanks.
I've also got one that's got designed to tie a rope on and then throw it in the water to get stuff back up out of.
Right.
And it's about 4 inches square. And instead of being totally flat, it's got just grooves. And that may
Okay.
help because you can put it there and then take a screwdriver and pry the cap off.
Yeah.
I should be back next week sometime.
All right. Well, meanwhile, I'll give Spence's magnetron one a try. But take a look at your lathe height. If you're having any discomfort, if you're standing there turning for a long time.
Okay, you're saying. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. It's like this, Gary. You
Yeah.
cross it right like you have them, and then you lean. Don't lean too far forward, but it should be right to your elbow.
Yeah, because in the past, they've always said, just leave your arm straight down. Obviously, if you cross it, that's gonna.
Pull it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's adjusting it where it's comfortable for you. And it's one of the things that we kind of neglect. We don't look at it. Once we set the lathe up, that's it. We level it and we move on. But a little distance, an inch or so, can make a huge difference.
Rick, back to the magnet. The magnet is inside a cup.
Yes. This is actually the cup, Mark, right around the outside. Can you see this edge around here is the cup.
Hold it up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, right around the outside rim. That's all a cup. This piece in the middle fits into that cup. They're two pieces.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
But the one I have doesn't have the hole in the middle. It's solid.
Okay.
You've seen them on my thing there.
Okay, I see what you're talking about now. I envisioned when you said cup, I thought we were talking about this kind of cup or wooden.
No,
cup.
well, it is that kind of cup, but it's very shallow.
Yeah, I got it now.
Not even a decent shot.
Rick, I have no idea if this would work. So just an off the wall thought. Could you CA something to that magnet so that you then have something to pull the magnet out of with? And we know that CA will soften with heat. So hit it with a heat gun after you have the magnet out to remove whatever object you glued to that. It may or may not work for you. Like I say, this is off the wall speculation. Might be one thing for you to try.
Yeah, I might try that. That actually makes pretty. CA has a pretty strong shear, or not shear, but tensile pull. That's a good idea, Ken. I'll try that.
Hey, Rick, when you put the magnet in,
Yeah.
Did you put any CA glue between
No.
the magnet and the cup?
No, you just hold the magnet up, and because the cup itself is steel, it just sucks it right up in.
Right.
But it doesn't give you any way to grip it to get it back out again.
Then what Ken suggested may work, but I was curious about if there's anything else in between there, and you may never get it out in that case. But what
No,
Ken or
glued in, it
Spencer's
would never
idea,
come out.
with the big magnet. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna try both things.
the other thing you can do, Rick, that is guaranteed to work, replace the shelf.
That might be the easiest way, but I want to reuse the magnet.
Could you get a hacksaw blade between the back of the cup and the shelf and just cut the
No,
screw on?
it's tight. I mean, I was even thinking about taking and putting compressed air in there, you know, and trying to get air behind it, but nah, doesn't. No, I have some ideas now, though.
Everybody,
Thank you.
All right,
thank
anybody
you
else have anything?
for the session today. Unfortunately, Kathy and I have to leave right now, but appreciate this info and your sharing, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you. I have
joining.
three things I learned today that I had to write down, even though I'm not doing notes. So have a great day.
All righty.
See ya.
Anybody else have anything?
All right, well, everybody that was at breakfast 2 weeks ago has already seen some of this, but I call it fun with the wood burner. And
yeah.
I've just been, you know, I think Dick and Jay might be the only ones that haven't seen it. But it's just takes about 20 minutes a piece. And it just takes a piece of wood and makes it a little bit prettier.
It really came out nice, Dan.
I really like that, Dan.
Yeah.
I
That
do
almost
too.
looks like fractal burning that you've been able to control into a real nice design with those horses.
Yeah.
You look nicer in person too, Dick.
Yeah. Somebody sent me this one, a picture of it. And the rest of them, I just take the outline of a horse and fill it in and just try to make it look like branches.
Dan, was that totally
Very cool.
freehand or did you
Yeah.
put a template down to
No,
copy from?
I did draw the outline of the horse on the wood
Okay,
and then just stayed within the lines more or less. And
I-
the rest of
I-
it, you just kind of play with it and see what
I've seen,
happens.
yeah, I've seen some templates that you lay down on a piece of wood and then you put like some powder or something over it and it gives you the outline and you can follow that. But you're saying you just kind of did a general outline of the horse and then went from there, huh?
Yeah, horses are easy because people take pictures of them in profile and they're pretty easy to identify what kind of animal it is. I got to try to find some other animals. I'm bored with horses. But most animals, they turn, and once you can't do a face on and figure out what kind of animal it is, the branches all overlap and everything. So I'll look for pictures and try something else.
Do some pronghorns.
Pronghorns, elk.
Yeah.
Buffalo, maybe American bison. I'll keep looking, but it takes about 20 minutes to do. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun for now.
See, I could have somebody give me the wood, the burning iron, and the sketch, and when I got done, it still looked like a crumpled up ball of aluminum foil. I just don't have that artistic ability. That's gorgeous, Dan.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, thank you. But it is really easy, if you
When you
just
have the
take,
skill, yes.
well, all right.
Well, I wanted to say about the symposium in Oregon. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but that was an awesome event. I learned a lot there, and most of the people here on this meeting went to that, as Spence already and Gary already said. But it was wonderful. Eric Lofstrom, when the demo first started, I thought, what's this guy talking about? The dancing thing and moving to the left and the right and down with your legs. But I want to tell you, I was impressed with doing that. I tried it out after I got home, and it does make a difference. So that's just one of many things that I learned at the symposium. There's some tips and tricks and it was a great thing. So any of you that have not been to a symposium, might want to think about it in the future.
Next
Okay.
year we'll rent a Greyhound and we'll all take a bus trip up.
Mhm.
We need somebody with one of those $1 million motorhomes so we can go in style, right?
Right. Been there, done that, ain't going back.
Maybe Don Milburn would take us up in his.
Maybe, maybe not.
I got money to place in that bet. All right,
Okay.
anything else this morning?
Well, only that you're doing a fantastic job with those chips and grits, Bruce. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you, sir.
So, good job.
All righty then. Well, let's call it for this time. And I want to thank all of you for joining. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Bruce.
I
Okay,
gotta find
fine.
out how to stop the recording.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Don't ask Mark because he knows nothing.